Samson says, hello to all my YouTubers. Today is the first week of September, and we all know that September is Emergency Preparedness Month. So, from our last video, I acknowledged the fact that we were going to have a propane technician come out. And what you're looking at here is a custom-made hose that Mr. Propane created for us. I'm going to get to all of these little gizmos and gadgets later. I'm certain that I could break this up into 2 or 3 product reviews. We have the IGAN, the little doghouse to keep the generator covered when it's out in the elements. I just think that is the cutest damn thing. I would be concerned that maybe the whole damn unit goes up in flames, but the exhaust doesn't seem to get real hot. So here you have your little exhaust port, and on the side you got a spot where you can start the generator, and then there's a little window section where you can unclip and have access to your hoses and extension cords. But then there's a large gap on the bottom, which is good for airflow. I'm thinking just hook the generator up, and then once it's running, just put this little cover over it. That seems to make the most sense to me. It did come with a bag, the Doghouse IGAN, which is super cool. So now I leave more gizmos, you know, a little extension cord and adapters. And then I kind of went a little overkill, but I wanted a really thick gauge extension cord. So unfortunately, the generator doesn't accept this kind of plug, but it does have 3 of the 110 outlets, and that's where this little gizmo comes in, where it can hook into the 110 outlet of the generator. And if I need a pigtail, it too can connect into the generator and produce power through that cord. So I like to do things a little overkill. It comes with tent stakes, which I think is a hoot. So apparently I'm going to have to redesign my generator station that you're going to see in a minute, because it's not exactly the flattest and most perfect spot for our champion that runs like a champ. Now that we got her all figured out. Okay, let's take a moment. Samson, do you have anything to say to our audience? Mute. Mute, mute, mute. Okay, so propane technician Mike came out from Skagit, from Farmer Skagit Supply, and he reconfigured the housing from the large propane tank. You'll remember in some previous videos, he redid this entire connection that now feeds out to a regulator, and then set me up with this cool quick connect. And that way, you know, I was running 210 psi pressure originally to the old one, and that was just crazy and dangerous, especially according to propane technician Mike. And then he left my old regulator that connects down into the RV. So definitely more safer. If something goes wrong, we're not going to have a full bore of pressure, because this regulates it down and makes it so easy where I could connect that red hose into the quick connect, and at least the hose isn't sitting out here in all of the weather. All right, let's get this connected up so I can show you how things are working. Okay. Before we get started, I wanted to talk about some information I gave from the manual. I double checked with technician Mike from Skagit Supply, and he gave me some advice about filling those brand new propane tanks. And basically that manual was totally out of date. In today's propane tanks, you don't have to worry about purging them and bleeding them. You just get the propane off the shelf and go have it filled. They even have a little bit of additive to the propane that'll suck out the oxygen, so you don't have to worry about your tank going bad or having issues. So, note to manufacturer that they need to make an edit. That's obsolete and dated information. Okay, Skagit Supply technician Mike created this magical hose, red hose. It has a little bit of a funky feel to it, and I was thinking of washing it off or using some soap. It's definitely pliable. I don't want to ruin this hose, but anytime you touch it or it comes in contact, it kind of has a slight glue to it. Sort of feels like it's going away now that it's been a week or two. We're gonna sit on that project. So we have our quick connect. This end is going to go into our new adapter that's at the top of the propane tank. And then the other end, this would be basically what would go from a propane tank into a gas grill or into your generator. And that'll thread in. So this is going to be set with the Champion generator. And then to bleed the line, you have your on-off switch, and that's really cool, so I don't have to worry about pulling that throttle too many times. We can just open it up, bleed it off. I'll demonstrate that later. And of course, we still have the regulator with its quick connect that's going to go into our Champion generator. And like I said, these two will adapt together. Let me show you how this is going to quick connect. Basically what you want to do is take both ends and hold them together so that nothing gets dirty. You don't want it in the mud or the gravel. And then just take this end and push it in. Guess that should have been closed, but that's the way it is. Then we can route our hose okay, so now if that's set up, let me pause. Hold on. Hold on. Next step, YouTubers. Come around here. Maybe I can get in the frame. Oh, we're just having such beautiful weather. The first week of September. It's pretty amazing. So we have the end that needs to go as if it was the propane tank. And we'll thread that in. Hope you can see that in the shadow. And that's just as if you were going onto a propane tank. Okay? So that is good and tight. And then we have our handy dandy plastic gizmo that holds the other end of our quick connect. I've never read that warning label. We'll get to that. And then don't forget, this is your black notch that needs to connect in to the input of your Champion generator. Alright, so that's good to go. Now, what I was wanting to try out and demonstrate will be the little doghouse in case it's raining, when it's raining. because that's probably when we'll lose power. Well, I want to see how all of this can fit. So I'm going to pause again. We can always cut together. I've really been working on my technique of editing, so hold on. Okay, today is mock emergency preparedness day, and when it's raining like hell, I got that all connected, and now we got to get our doghouse on. We have to have a little protection. Oh, look at how nice that fits. The back looks good. Like I said, I still want to use some of my pavers, but this seems like the feet connect just right down here where nothing's going to move. So that gets us through, and all of our connections are good and tight. Now today's emergency preparedness, I'm not going to be connecting the electrical cords because we've already did that a couple weeks ago and everything worked out good. All right, hold on. Let's stop again, take a look at what's going to happen. All right, well, I can't reiterate enough how some people think I am completely nuts, always wanting to have a generator. But today we're going to start the generator up, and I'm going to run the doghouse cover on it for about 20 minutes just to see what the scoop is. Again, Mr. Mike, propane technician. Are you ready for a side story? All right, so I actually thought that I was registered with Skagit Farmer Supply and went to them to do all these wonderful connections. I didn't have an account, and they came out here and did all of this for free, left me with the hose and everything. And now today I received an email from Northwest Propane wanting to give a survey on what great service they do. So I'm actually registered with Northwest Propane, but I had accidentally called Skagit Farmer Supply Propane. And they did all of this for free. And from the parts and pieces I was looking at when I wanted to do all this myself, it was easily $200 worth of parts. The guy comes up here to Lake Tyee and does that all for free. So I'm going to be switching propane carriers from Northwest Propane to my Skagit Farmer Supply. They also gave me a safety check. I scored 100. Everything's in perfect condition. And now we're gonna give it a go after that. Let's do it. Remember, we want to go to the choke. You're gonna gently prime it. From what I hear, the slower you pull the cord for your priming, the better. So that seems to be primed. And last time I've been switching it to the propane setting and then pulling it a couple times and then going back to the choke setting, and that's when it seems to start. So I might do the same thing because that wasn't catching. Bad news. Hold on. You have to switch your hose to on down there. Did you see that? I had this in the off position. That's going to cause a no-go. That's going to cause a no-go. Got to open it up. Sorry about that. Take two. that's kind of choking. Let's see if it wants to start. But I really believe you gotta switch back over to propane. Give it a couple wraps. Back to choke. And once it's running, switch it back to propane. And it's on eco mode. We like eco mode. How about that? Then, where I take the doghouse, I do have a fire extinguisher nearby. Hold on. Okay. So we have our doghouse connected. It's raining, snowing like hell, wind crazy, lots of mud. Just to show you, we've got the exhaust port. Seems to be in a perfect position. And it's hardly even hot. Purrs like a little kitten. So we're gonna let that run. I just want to let it run because after 5 hours I want to go ahead and change the oil. And I have a feeling that there's not going to be a whole lot of opportunities to run the generator for 5 hours. And I'm curious about an oil change, so I'm going to let that sit for 20 minutes. Here we go. Bye-bye. Okay, it's been about 7 minutes, and I just want to recap, show you. This is the cover. And then Technician Mike from Skagit Farmer Supply got me all connected up with the right hose. We have plenty of extra hose if I ever need to move it. And 7 minutes into eco mode, she's running like a champ. But what I've learned from other generator issues, you really don't want to run a generator with no power connected. So let's go ahead and see what happens. Like Generator Jim, he has 250,000 views on his generator overhauls. So he always takes a big electric heater and connects it. And so let's see what happens. I'm definitely going to go off of Eco Supply. Here we go. Give me a moment. Okay, so what I demonstrated there was connecting the Polonus heater. It's currently not on, but I wanted to show how that little window worked. and I kind of like using the underneath connection better, but for whatever it's worth. All right, she's up to speed, and I'm going to turn on an electric heater. I do want to comment on the smoke that you saw. A lot of the users who run these Champion generators say that for the first 10 or 15 hours, even with nothing connected, they smoke out their neighbors. So applying that load definitely demonstrated the puff of smoke. And we have our Pelonis heater. I'm thinking that's going at 1500 watts. I'm going to see if I can slow it down to a level 1 or level 2. Took quite a few moments for the generator to recoup from that. Running like a champ. The exhaust finally warmed up. I've got the heater on level 1. It has like level 1, 2, 3, and 4. And let's see if we can make it bog down again. Okay, so that's a good thing. If you got your generator kind of challenged, that means it's definitely producing some output. And we're just going to let that sit for a few more minutes.